On here for a little Q&A like we do every week, so make sure you guys are commenting down below. First, comment down below if you can hear me so we know that that's all good and that's out of the way. Then if you guys got any questions for me, make sure you guys are posting them and commenting down below, and like we do every week, we'll get to those at the end of the video. All right, so what we're going to talk about a little bit in this video is, first off, we're going to talk about last night's UFC. We're going to talk about the main event and going forward with that. And then Matt's going to chime in a little bit too on what he thought about in the main event. So you had Ciryl Gane and you had Derek Lewis. You had Ciryl Gane at a huge favorite. He was minus 350. He kind of was hanging in that 300 range the whole entire day. Now, the reason behind that was because this was a complete mismatch. Because if you've seen the fight, here's the thing. A lot of people were mad because of the way that the main event ended up going, and it was really slow and it was just dragging out. Well, if you watched any of Ciryl Gane's fights, you would have noticed that that's how he is. You know, he just bounces around. He bounces around and bounces around, tags you here and there, doesn't really make any mistakes, and frustrates the other guy completely because he's did this plenty of times. And me personally, the last one I watched was he was against Rosenstrike, I believe. And this was probably the worst fight I've ever watched in my life. When it comes to just the, wanting to see action, there was absolutely none. Like Rosenstrike couldn't even throw any punches whatsoever because he had no clue what to do. Similar stuff happened last night with Derek Lewis. There was one round, I think, where Derek Lewis landed like one punch, and that was about it. And I think in the third round, you could see it in Derek Lewis's face. Derek Lewis looked like, I can't do nothing against this guy. I don't have nothing to be able to do against him. You could just tell. You could just tell that he was like, I'm pretty much defeated. Now, here's the thing. Going forward with that, he's going to be Ciryl Gane's going to be fighting Ngannou. I don't know, guys. Honestly, it's kind of tough to think because Ngannou's the same thing. He's just in better shape than Derek Lewis, but he's a man that just likes that, that one knockout punch. That's what he is. He goes out there and he wants to hit you with that haymaker, and that's not how Ciryl Gane fights. And this is a new type of heavyweight. And I noticed this a while ago with Ciryl Gane because you could just tell he is a different type of heavyweight. He is very technical and he bounces around and it's very hard to hit him. And I don't even think he's been touched really in the face for like the last 3 fights. But Matt, you watched that fight last night. What did you take from that main event?
Yeah, so it was a rough fight for Lewis. He only landed 16 total significant strikes, and then Gane landed 98. So it's just Ciryl Gane. He just looked so technical during that fight. Rounds 1 and 2, just keeping his distance with the leg kicks. And then round 3, he just found that opportunity and pounced right on it, and then just took him out in the third round. So I feel like he's going to former teammates between him and Ngannou, so that's going to be a really interesting fight. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be cool, but like I said, like people, here's the thing: Ciryl Gane's fights, they're not gonna sell because they're not exciting. They're not exciting fights. He's probably, I think, my personal opinion, I think he's the best heavyweight. I think he's easily the best heavyweight. I think the only one that can match him is John Jones, I think. John Jones can be as technical as him. But other than that, I don't think there's really anybody else that's really coming close to him because he is a very technical fighter for a big guy. And I was really impressed with the way that he fought last night. I pretty much knew that. That's why he was minus 350 in most places because you can just tell, like Matt, like you said in the third round, Derek Lewis, he just looked defeated. That's when Ciryl Gane was like, all right, I'm just going to pick this guy off now and I'm going to end this. So you could just tell he was defeated. He was like, man, I don't know what to do. One round, he only landed like one shot. He only landed 16 shots over the whole entire fight, which is horrible. That's horrible in 3 rounds. That's 15 minutes of 15 minutes and you can't even land any punches. You barely landed any punches on the guy. So very tough there. But going forward, I do think Ciryl Gane is going to be the next, champ. I know they got the interim champ. I don't know why they even do anything like that, but I think he is going to be Ngannou probably going forward. It'll be cool to watch, but I think the same thing will happen. He's just going to get frustrated. Ngannou will get frustrated and just make some stupid mistakes. Now, these guys, I guess, go way back too because they fought together in the same gym in France or whatnot, so they kind of know each other a little bit. But fighting styles, I just think Ciryl Gane is just way too technical, and I do believe he's going to be the next champ in the heavyweight division. So going forward from the UFC, I just wanted to talk, like I said, I wanted to talk a little bit about that for anything. Any questions for the UFC before I move on?
Yeah, so we have Dylan Jenkins. What's up, man? How you doing? He said, he said he did the same thing to Alexander Volkanovski.
Alexander, Volkov, he means.
Volkov. Actually,
yeah,
no, that was on me then.
Volkov.
Yeah,
I was going to say Volkanovski. I don't know.
No, different weight classes. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so Volkov, yeah, he did. Exactly. He just frustrates people. That's what he does. That's what I'm saying. Like, he's super technical, and he's boring as hell to watch. So super boring. Before we were about to watch this fight last night, I warned everybody. I was like, this isn't going to be an entertaining fight. I was like, this is going to be a fight where Derek Lewis is going to just struggle because he's going to be like, oh, my God, like, I don't know how to figure this guy out whatsoever, and he's just going to be limited. And that's exactly what happened. But, yeah, it was a little disappointing for the fans, but that's what you're going to get, guys, when Ciryl Gane is fighting. So anything else for UFC before I move on?
Yeah, John Anderson, he said, Derek Lewis sucks. I don't understand why UFC keeps him, giving him main card fights.
It's just because he sells tickets. Now, I think this was because he was in his home place of Houston, so the crowd wanted to be behind him or whatnot, and he didn't even get a shot really to like do those, because Derek Lewis is like, he's got no cardio really, and we've seen that in previous fights. He just likes to throw haymakers, and people love to see that. They like to see people just stand there and bang. That's what they love to see. So that's why I think Derek Lewis just keeps getting it, because he can sell tickets. Because honestly, in the UFC, it's not even about who's the best. It's about who can sell tickets. That's what I always think it is. It's about who can sell the best fights. Because if nobody's showing up to see Ciryl Gane fight because he's boring to watch, then what's the point? UFC's not going to back him all the way. They're not going to make big fights around him because he's boring to watch. People don't want it, and they're not going to get pay-per-view views on that. But anything else?
No, nothing right now. So if you guys have any questions or comments, please leave them in there.
Cool. So, all right. So let's move on. I want to talk a little bit about a question that's came across a couple times. People have asked this when it comes to betting on sports and professional sports betting. Now, when you have your bankroll and you're at the professional level where you're doing this for a living and you're wondering how you're going to pay your bills and how do you pay yourself out of it, and you do all that. Now, first, I want to just say this right off the bat. When it comes to taxes, I cannot speak on my behalf for taxes because in every state that it's legal to bet on sports, it's different. In Nevada, there's no tax, so it's very hard in other places for me to speak on that because I'm not a tax expert. All right, let's get that out of the way first off. But anyway, getting forward into that. Now, let's just use it for an example. Let's just say you have a unit size of $500 because that's where you kind of have to be in that level to do this full time, and you don't have any other income sources coming in. You're just doing this full time, so you're paying your bills off of it. Now, there's going to be months, like you said, people have messaged us and said, like, it's hard. How do you do it? Because like some months you might lose, right? And some months, you might make minimal. Okay, well, this is how it works. All right. Because you got to think, this is not like a regular 9-to-5 job. You're not getting paid every 2 weeks. You're not getting paid every week. It's not like that. All right. What you have to do is assess all your expenses. Obviously, this is like a management, 101. You got to assess your expenses. So let's say you average anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 a month in bills. Let's just use that as an example, $2,000 to $3,000 a month in bills. Now your unit size is about $500. All right. Let's say 1 month you end up hitting 20 units in that month. So you would have made about 10,000. So just because that month you made 20 units and you made 10,000 does not mean that you pay your bills out of it and then you can go and spend money on stupid stuff and everything like that. Reason behind that being the month after that, let's just say a month after that, for an example, you only make like 3 units, let's say you only make 3 or 4 units. So you only make $1,500 to $2,000. So if you only make that certain amount of money, obviously that doesn't cover your bills for that month, right? But the previous month, that's what it's designed for. That's how you're able to pay it. That's why you stack your bankroll. It's like a bank account. It's the same thing. You just are stacking your cash because there's some months that are going to be better than others. So a month where you make 10,000, that really covers your bills for almost 3 months. Let's say you're 3,000. That covers your bills for almost 3 months, just 1 month, one good month. So you got to realize that. So it doesn't mean that you can dip in there and start spending stupid stuff and taking more money out because you had a great month. Because there's going to be bad months. There's going to be months that are minimal. There's going to be months where you lose. Let's say you are down a couple units. You're down 2 units for a month. So you lost $1,000 in the month. Well, those big months are what carries you. Those are the big months are what makes your bankroll like your bank account to where you're able to take stuff out of it and you're able to pay your bills from it. Okay? It's like I said, when you get to the professional level, it becomes very complicated. Now, here's the thing. It's not very complicated to budget your expenses along with how your bankroll is doing because you treat your bankroll like your bank account. It's the same thing. So if you're not a regular 9-to-5 job, you look at your bank account's got 10,000 in it, or let's just say you made 4,000 in the month at work from your 9 to 5 job goes into your bank account and you pay your bills from it, right? It's the same exact thing. So just you're not getting that same exact money every single 2 weeks like you would at like a 9 to 5 job or whatnot. It varies. So your good months, you have to preserve that money. You got to preserve your bankroll or your bank account if you want to look at it that way. You have to preserve it because you got to be able to cover your expenses when bad months do hit. So that's how you are able to do that, guys. That's how you are able to take money from your bankroll and pay yourself. There's no difference between your bankroll being like your bank account and you're working from a regular job. There's no difference. It's the same thing. The only thing is it's not for sure the same amount of money coming in every 2 weeks like a regular job would be, like a 9 to 5 job. All right. So you guys got to realize that it's not that hard. Not that hard to budget it, but it's hard when you have good months because if you're at a $500 unit size and you make 20 units and you're up 10,000 for the month, then you feel like you're a baller or something. And then you're like, okay, I can go out, have some expensive dinners and whatnot, and then it comes to it towards the next month or something. And then you're like, oh, wait a minute. I lost like 2 units or whatnot. Oh, what am I supposed to do? See what happens. Like those months come and then you don't want to be dipping lower in your bankroll, making your bankroll lower and lower and lower. All right, guys. So that's how you manage your bankroll to correlate with how to pay your bills when you're doing this at a professional level. Matt, we got any questions?
Yeah, we got a two-part question from Armando. He said, Caesar Sportsbook is offering a $5K match deposit. Should I go for it? The next thing he said was thinking about depositing $5K and going for the safest bet possible by taking my $5K out and keeping the $5K that they gave me to have as a bankroll.
All right, so they're not going to let you do that. They're not going to let you have free money, all right? There's going to be a catch that goes along with that. And my idea of what the catch probably is a rollover, because that's what happens at most sports books. When they give you free play or they match free play, you have to spend usually anywhere from 5 to 10 times that amount, all right? So if you get $5,000 from them, they match a $5,000 deposit. You got to get 5 to 10 times. You have to spend 5 to 10 times that amount before you can even access the 5,000 that you already put in there. They're not going to let you take the money out. Okay, believe me, these sports books, they're not stupid. They're not going to let you deposit 5,000, give you 5,000, then you take your money out, and then you're playing with free money. They're not going to let you do that. Okay, so that's what I would think that Caesars has behind that. That's, they're not going to give away free money. That's just it. But when you're doing this at a high level and you're doing this every single day, month in and month out, to hit that rollover period, it really doesn't take that long. It doesn't take that long to do it because you consistently are betting every single day. It starts to rack up through months. All right. So it really doesn't. The rollovers don't really matter if you're taking this serious and you're trying to do this at a high level.
Yeah. Another comment from Facebook. Kevin said, how many hours a day do you spend researching your bets?
So I got this down to about an hour and a half to 2 hour process. All right. Because that's how we do it here. We have a checklist and we run things through a checklist of how to come up with plays at the end of the day. If we go through the whole checklist, whatever's at the end result, that's what we play. And to do that checklist takes us about an hour and a half, 2 hours on a daily basis. Now, when there's multiple sports going, it's a little bit different. It takes a little longer. Right now, it's only MLB going, so it only takes a little bit amount of time. But when there's multiple sports going, then it takes 2 to 4 hours really to zone in on all that.
Another question, good question from YouTube. Shovo said, how to control mind in betting?
It's very tough. I mean, that's the thing is that it's one of the most important things when it comes to sports betting is your mind and how you can control your mind along with your bankroll. All right. Because this is just in gambling in general, not just sports betting. Because when you're just gambling in general, you seem to get carried away. If you start losing money, you get carried away. You start betting more money than you're supposed to, then you start losing more money than you're supposed to. Before you know it, you got no money to recoup the money that you lost. This happens every day, guys. The casinos are built off of that. The casinos are built off of it, okay? Trust me. That's how you just you don't want to fall in that type of hole. You need to stay very mentally sound. You got to stay mentally sound. You got to focus every day. And if you have a losing day, go to bed. You go to bed, you wake up the next day, do exactly what you did the day before and just keep it going, all right? Because you're going to have losing days, you're going to have winning days. It happens in sports betting and in gambling just in general. If you're able to manage it, you're able to control your mind, your emotion, you can control your emotion. You can do this better than 99% of the people out there, all right? Just know that. It's very important, bankroll management and your mindset.
Got one from YouTube as well. It says, do you guys play on MLS? I've seen a lot of ties that there's a lot of value in that.
So for MLS, no, we don't really play MLS. When we play soccer, our soccer plays mostly consist of these leagues that are like in Europe that people never even heard of, okay? Because that's where you can find a lot of value. MLS, like English Premier League, UEFA qualifying, these are soccer games that everybody plays because everybody knows the teams. Now, when you go really in depth and see these little leagues that are in Europe that not too many people know about, you can find and exploit some value in there and find different, advantages here and there when it comes to soccer. So that answers that for MLS.
Another question from Armando said, "What sports do you guys usually make the most units off of?" He said, "I was thinking MLB because of the amount of games."
It really is a toss-up, honestly. It's a toss-up between MLB and NBA because NBA season, when NBA season hits, we like to do prop plays and a lot of them on a daily basis because there's a lot of value in NBA with prop plays, along with some money line plays here and there. But we tend to have a lot of plays when it comes to NBA season. So NBA, I'd say about NBA, MLB, and NHL are kind of all in the same category of they're just a little hair off of each other of the best ones that we perform in.
Jack asked, "Do you think it's possible making a living solely from soccer?"
So from soccer, it's kind of tough for just one sport, doing one sport. But soccer is year round because there's leagues going all in Europe and everywhere in the world constantly throughout the whole entire year. So yeah, you can actually possibly make a living just from straight soccer because on any given day, there is anywhere from 50 games to 100 games going, especially on the weekends. There is a load of games going around the world. But you got to have the right sports books for them because some sports books don't even carry half of these leagues that nobody's ever heard of. But if you do have access to those, like I think like Bet365 is one of them that has like every sports. I mean, it has every soccer league that you could even think of. Like they have like U18 leagues and stuff that you can bet on as well. But if you have access to all that, then yeah, you can because you can have anywhere from 5 to 10 plays a day in just soccer because there's so many matchups that are in there. All right, so no more questions, guys. If that's it, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, watching. Hopefully, I gave you guys some good advice when it comes to your bankroll and how to, treat it like your bank account too, and how to, if you're doing this full time and you want to do this full time, how to manage that. I hope I helped you guys with that because that was the aim, that was the goal of this whole video. Is I wanted to answer that question for you guys because some people I've seen over the last couple months they've asked this question and been a little confused on how to do it. All right, guys, so. Thanks for chiming in. Hopefully I answered all your guys' questions. If I didn't, make sure you guys still comment on the video because we'll still reply to that as well. All right, guys. I'm Frank with Linemaker Sports. I will see you guys in the next video, the next live stream, whatever it is. I'll see you guys next time.